Okay, so we're going to go into the five-step plan in detail. And I'm going to be toggling between our PowerPoint presentation and a Touchstone application. I'll get to that in a moment. In the first step of the plan, it's all about naming the processes in your business, just naming them. And in this step, I want you to think about your business in a new way. I want you to rise above the landscape and think of your business as having four key functions. There are really only four key functions in your business. Getting the business, these are all of your sales and marketing processes. Doing the business, these are all the processes for delivering on the promise that you made during the sales procedure. So these are processes for client fulfillment, customer service, all of the processes that directly relate to what you do for your clients. Running the business, these are all the processes that go on behind the scenes, invoicing, collections, basically all of the financial, administrative, human resource type processes and IT type processes. And you might say, well, we don't have an HR department. And I would say, well, you might not have an HR department, but you have HR type processes. You should have processes for hiring employees, for firing employees, for even as simple as that, but onboarding employees and training employees. These are all HR type processes. And then finally, the fourth key function, the strategic processes for leading and managing and guiding the business from where you are today to where you want to get it to. In the simplest of terms, as I mentioned, there are really only four core activities that happen in a business. You've got to get the business, you've got to deliver on the promise, you've got to collect and pay for the goods and services that were performed, and you've got to guide and manage things. So this becomes your process database. This is where you will store all of your systems, all categorized in four simple key functions. I'm going to toggle over to a Touchstone account. This presentation is not a demo of the Touchstone Business System. I'm simply using it to show you what is available to you. You can do these exercises. In fact, you could do this exercise in a Word document, in a spreadsheet, even with a pen and a piece of paper. And I encourage you to take this step. But that said, we've been using different types of tools to help companies organize and implement their operating procedures for more than 20 years. Touchstone is by far and away the best tool available for this need. It's been designed for process implementation. And while this is the first of 5 steps that we're going to go through, you're going to see how Touchstone is designed to integrate all 5 steps. And that is our proprietary information, our proprietary or intellectual properties, that integration of all of the processes with the boxes on the organization chart, the integration of the organization chart with your processes to create position-specific operating manuals. Again, this is what facilitates the finding of the processes. So in this first step of the 5-step plan, we're simply naming and organizing your processes. You're not describing how the process is done. You are not writing the process in this step. That's going to come later. You want to focus on building out this framework, this infrastructure. And your processes are going to get organized in these 4 key functions. These are the 4 key functions I just mentioned: getting the business for sales, doing the business for client fulfillment, running for the back office procedures, guiding for strategy and management. Within each of these key functions, processes get organized in categories that we will call sub-functions. And again, you can do this in a spreadsheet or on a piece of paper. You're just starting to now organize all of the sales and marketing processes into categories. Now, we're not focusing on a key industry today. We often do that. So we'll do a presentation for property management companies or for HVAC contracting companies, for example. Sometimes we do presentations for specific industry groups, but because there are all sorts of companies in different industries on today's call, I thought I would start with just looking into, think about getting the business, the sales and marketing of your products and services. And I like starting here because selling is sort of where everything starts. Selling really starts the whole business cycle. In this key function, we create subcategories that correspond to your selling process. Now, I like to think of selling as both an art and a science. Generally, we recommend categorizing your processes, your sales processes, into 3 or 4 subcategories. Typically, we say you've got processes to generate leads, or what you might call advertising. You've got processes for qualifying and nurturing these leads into converted sales. If you study anything about selling, you get a lot of leads who aren't qualified, and you should not be going after those leads. And you get a lot of leads that are just not ready to buy, and these are leads that you need to convert into sales. And then you get a very, very, very small percentage of leads that pull the trigger when you originally introduce the idea. So you've got advertising or lead generation, you've got qualification and nurturing and converting these leads into sales, and then you have processes for retaining these clients for future opportunities. So client retention, cross-selling, upselling. Now, when you're organizing your processes, you could put them all under one category called sales and marketing, or you could make it easier on yourself and start thinking of your processes in these subcategories. But we're only talking about sales processes at this point. Now, one thing that's important to note here is that your salespeople, for example, don't have to come here to hunt for what they need. When an employee logs into their dashboard, I'm going to come over here. If you've got employees set up in a Touchstone account, Touchstone knows who they are and immediately provides them with their position. So I know that in this case, you'll notice that I'm in 2 positions. And I can click on any one of these positions, and all of the processes that I need, the ones I've been trained in, are right here. I don't have to be searching around for what I need. Everything I need is right here. Now, we're going to go into this in a minute, how to link the processes you've created to specific positions. But for the moment, know that it is really easy to find exactly the processes you need to do your job. And if I click on a process, the free month welcome call, for example, you see that there is a work plan and there are a couple of scripts. And if I click on the work plan, the welcome call, I get all of the instructions that walk me through the welcome call process. They're all presented here along with the other links that I might need. So links to the voicemail script or the live script, depending on whether or not I reach the prospect or the new client. So if I'm making this welcome call and I reach their voicemail, I can simply click here and I have a script to follow. Scripts are not meant to be read on the phone, although voicemail scripts, they do work pretty well that way. They're not meant to be read on the phone. They're really designed for role playing and training. So this would be a better example here. If I reach the contact, use this script. These are scripts that we write to role play and train customer service reps. And if, as they walk through the process, they actually get the client to schedule their orientation meeting, they can click right here and it goes to the next process they need for scheduling that orientation meeting in the CRM application. So again, it's just makes it so easy to find what you're looking for, this tool. And we've been systemizing companies for years and years and years using Word and Google Docs and all sorts of different things. We just really focused on this. Let's go back to where we were, back to the 4 key functions. I can click on any of the 4 key functions here. If I click on guiding the business, for example, I can start seeing the processes I need for strategy and management. The 4 key functions are here to help you think about all of the processes that you have in your business in a very structured framework. And again, in this first step of the 5-step process, we're naming processes. We're going to get to writing them in a later step, but now it's really important to create that foundation or the structure that I spoke of. I wanted to give you an example. I mentioned this a moment ago. I was working with a client and I asked them, what do you do to get new business? And the response was, oh, well, we just analyzed our database to get a list of clients who had not made a purchase in the last 12 months, but they had previously purchased more than $2,000. And then we exported this list into a file, and then we created an email, and we merged this list into a... Now, I stopped them at this point. Can you see that what he was describing to me were all the steps of the process, how they did it? And I stopped them and I said, my question was, what do you do to get new business? Not how. We're going to get to that later. So if what you are describing to me were a process, what would the name of that process be? The client thought about it for a moment and he said, retargeting past clients. And I thought, great. Let's go to getting the business, because that's really a sales process. Let's add a new process, and let's call this process retargeting past clients. Yeah, oops, sorry, hit the caps lock key. Retargeting past clients. And I clicked save. And then I said, so what else do you do? And he said, well, we do Facebook advertising. And I said, great, let's put in Facebook advertising. So we put Facebook advertising. I said, what else do you do? And he said, well, we advertise on LinkedIn. I said, great, LinkedIn. What else do you do? Well, we do trade shows. Great. What else do you do? Well, we do email marketing. We do blogging. And as he named his processes, we wrote them down. Can you see that we're just naming the processes? We're listing everything down. And step by step, we went through all of his 4 key functions. After I asked him about how did he get new business, I asked, well, what do you do after you get a lead? And he said, well, we qualify the lead, and then we create a proposal, and then we present the proposal, and then we follow up on the proposal. All of those are processes. And then I said, well, what happens when they sign the proposal? Well, then we do this, and then we do that. And we went through each of these 4 key functions, and step by step, we identified every system he could think of. Now, when you're first starting out, when you get if you did choose a new Touchstone account, or if you're using a spreadsheet or a piece of paper, your paper is blank. These key functions are blank. So to assist you with understanding the processes in your business, you can access our process libraries. We actually have, as I said, we've been doing this for a long, long time. And if you have a Touchstone account, you can come up here and actually put your cursor over the Add from Process library, and you can access all of the processes in a library up here. So we've got processes for each of your key functions. For example, you can download the new employee onboarding. I'm going to give you an example in a moment, but you'll notice that you've got new employee search, new employee interviewing, new employee introduction, new employee onboarding, new employee training. You can put a check mark on one of these and click save and download that process into your Touchstone account. And these are great because they're fairly generic in nature, but we've been systemizing companies for more than 20 years now, and this is sort of a collaborative a process of bringing together processes that work that you can then download into your own company and start editing and saving and implementing right away. So this is a really great process because you can this tells you how to prepare the employee for coming. It gives you a work plan for their first day of training. It gives you a 30-day review, a 60-day review. It gives you a checklist for things like, have you got your W-4s done, your I-9s, have you got their email accounts set up? Just different information that you can walk through. But again, the idea here is name your processes. And what we recommend is that you go through the exercise of naming your processes. And once you've done that, then come to our libraries and supplement what you've already thought about with the processes in our libraries.